All right, so we're doing 9-6, solving quadratic equations by factoring. So yesterday you learned that you could graph your quadratic equations, and then we were going to look and see where did those parabolas cross the x-axis, right? Where did they cross the x-axis? Because that was the solutions we were looking for. The zeros, we called them. The zeros. Well, today we have another method, which is factoring. Now, you have done factoring, so you already have the hard part already almost done. But now we're going to turn it to solving, because you can actually figure out when these types of things are equal to 0. But let's go back up here for a second. Just think about this for 2 seconds. If you have two numbers and they're multiplied together, a times b equals 0. Tell me something that would have to be true about a or b in order to multiply them and get 0. I'm hoping you'll see that one of them would have to be 0, right? Because if this is 0, it doesn't matter what b is. 0 times anything would be 0. And if b was 0, it wouldn't matter what this was, because 0 times anything would then give you 0. That is the zero product property that has been introduced at other times, but we are going to use it in full force today. Okay, so just practicing that same thought right there, look at a little bit below here with this. These are the two things being multiplied together. You have the x minus 7 times the x plus 2. So use that zero property to solve. So it's basically saying it's this times this. So either this has to equal 0, or this has to equal 0 in order for this to be a true statement. So we can actually solve and figure out what would make each of those parentheses 0. So of course add 7, x could be 7, or minus 2, x could be a negative 2. And there are your answers for that. X equals 7 or x equals negative 2. Now, those you can kind of tell by looking at them. A lot of you will be able to do some of that in your head. It gets a little trickier if you, and I'm going to show it actually too. Hang on a sec, I'll show you one in a minute. Okay, so here again we have this. There's those two things being multiplied, right? We got this times this. One of those parentheses has to be 0. So either x minus 2 is equal to 0, or x is equal to 0. So that one's done already. Add 2, x equals 2, or x equals 0. Those are your answers. What if you have this, though? I'm going to give you a different one. 2x minus 3 times x plus 5 equals 0. How would you figure that one out? Because some of you are probably up here going, well, yeah, x7 would make this 0, and negative 2 would make this 0. You can kind of do some of that in your head. But that, not so much, right? You can figure that one out, because again, we're trying to see when is that 0 and when is that 0. So this one you might be able to see. What would make this 0? Negative 5. Good. This is harder. You actually have to set it equal to 0 and solve. And then you will see that it is 3 over 2. So be a little careful here. It's not always just like I can tell by looking at it. Sometimes what we're doing when we're looking at this and saying, oh, negative 5, is we're trying to figure out what it is when you set it equal to 0. Okay? So now we get into these problems where you need to factor. So you've done factoring before. You have all your factoring methods. Remember, just a reminder, before you can factor anything, it has to be equal to 0. So that one's set up, that one's set up. That is not, and nor is that. Okay, so these would have to be you'd have to get the 21 over, and so it's equal to 0. So what method do you want to try for that one? Yep. I would do box 1. What plus what equals a -6, and what times what equals 8. So go ahead and think about what that is. Feel free to stop the video too if you need to. Be -2 and -4. So again, we're using box 1 because there's a 1 in front of there. So that's how we know. So we can now write this down, x minus 2x. Don't take shortcuts with this. People always screw this up when they try to take shortcuts. Okay, your answers. Break it down, factor it. Remember you're multiplying. X minus 2 equals 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. They both could be 0, but they don't have to be. So x is equal to 2, or x is equal to 4. Those are your options. Okay, this one. Oh, does anybody notice something? Is that a perfect square trinomial I see? Check, check. Plus sign, check. 6x times 2, 12x. Check. Put the nose in. Put the ears on, and the hat. Yay! So x minus 6 times x minus 6 equals 0. So we're only going to have one option on this one because it's the same. So x equals 6. You don't have to write x equals 6 or x equals 6. All right, up here we go now, though. We have to get that solved. So get that 21 over to the other side. I'm going to try box 1. What plus what equals 4? What times what equals -21? On the screen would be helpful. Oofta, what is that? 7 and 3, 7 and 3, 7 and 3, and it's got to be negative. Whoa, wrong. It's got to be negative. No, wrong. It's got to be negative. Oh my. Get the color out here. So it should be a -3, -3. Not those. Ignore those. So 7 and -3. So x plus so x is equal to a -7, or x is equal to 3. Those smell so good. She's making gluten-free, dairy-free cookies, which you would think there's no way those could possibly taste good, but they smell very good. I don't know if they taste good. Okay, so since I see a negative in front of this, I'm actually going to move this over here instead of moving both of these over here. So when I shoot that over there, I'm going to get 2x squared plus 20x plus 50 equals 0. I just rewrote it with the numbers on the left. Oh, what else do you see? Remember what I always said to try first? GCF. And there is a GCF in here, so let's take out the 2. And what do my little eyes see? But another perfect square trinomial. Check. 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 Put the smiley face on. 5x times 2 is 10x. Check. It definitely is. Put the nose in there. Plus put the ears on and the hat. All right. So we've got this, so there's only going to be one answer again here, and it's going to be a -5, and oh, I'm off the screen. I hate that. So take a look there. Same thing, right? Because x plus 5 to the second is x plus 5 times x plus 5. It's only one answer. All right. Now, there's one more question, and it's about the diver. Love the diving question. Picture them up on the high dive, about to dive off. Now, do they just kind of fall off, or do they run and jump into the air and then go down? Right. So that's why you'll notice that this height formula is not the same as the other one when we did that softball throwing. That's when they were just dropping the softball off and down. This person is actually jumping off the diving board, so they're actually going up first and then down. So keep that in mind. So we got something different there. The height in feet above the water of a diver can be modeled by this. So here's our formula, where t is time in seconds after the diver jumps off a platform. Find the time it takes for the diver to reach the water. Reach the water. Guys, so it's like they're here, standing here. They're going to jump up and come down. When they hit the water, what is the height? Because this is for time. 0. Okay, then we want to make that 0. So let's do that. 0 equals -16t squared plus 8t plus 8. What's the first thing you look for? Because we got to do some factoring here. GCF, we can definitely take something out of all three. What can we take out?
Sorry.
-8. I would take a -8 out. What are you left with? 2t squared plus t. I'm sorry, there's no plus there. We took a negative out, so that's going to switch. Minus t minus 1. And it looks like we got to try a box 2 situation here, don't we? So what plus what equals a -1? And what times what equals a -2? This -8 can just hang out and behave itself out there while we work on this. Okay, so what are we going to put in our little box here? Well, 2 times 1, 2 and 1, and I need a positive 1, negative, so this is going to be a negative. Okay, so remember with box 2, we rewrite the first one. And then I take out this middle term and I put that other 2 in place of it. So I replace it with those. So plus 2t plus a -1t, and then you put the last term in, minus 1. Then I need to do grouping. So I group these first 2 and I group the last 2. And I'm going to just rewrite this again. So I have actually, I didn't leave myself enough room. Can take out a 2t here. And I'm left with a t plus 1 plus. And then because of that negative again, I'm going to take that negative out. I'm going to take a -1 out. And then I'll be left with a t plus 1 inside. And we all scream hip hip hooray because we have the t plus 1 in there. And leaving that 8 off front, take out my t plus 1. You see what you're left with, 2t plus a -1, or 2t minus 1. And what you're going to notice is now we have 3 things. So we have 0 equals -8 times t plus 1 times 2t plus a -1. So in order to figure out if this is 0, this or this has to be equal to 0. So what makes this 0? a negative 1. What makes this a 0? Wait, did I screw something up? Hang on. One moment, please. Are you guys yelling at me there? Did you guys see what I did wrong? I hope you did. That would be so awesome. Do you see what I did wrong? Where's my mistake? Way the heck up here. You could have said something a little sooner, guys. That is a negative 1. Have no fear. We got white out is here. All right, so we're going to make that a negative 1. But what happens then is this negative isn't going to be on there. The negative is going to be on the 2. So that means this is a negative and this is a positive. So now I got to be very careful when I'm doing this. So if I take out a 2t, so that's a t minus 1. And then if I won't take out a negative there. And that's t minus 1. And I take out the minus 1 here. Nothing that can't be remedied with a little whiteout. And then it's 2t plus 1. Love this stuff. All that because I simply put a 1 here instead of a negative 1, right? You guys know how it goes. These little mistakes will eat you up here. All right, so t is either 1 or, now we have to solve this one. Oh, my goodness sakes. All right, so I'm like this and I've got this. What do you guys have to say about that? Are those both viable answers? No, they're not. You can't have a negative 1/2 second. So t is 1. 1 second. Hits this at, oh, back up here, hits this at 1 second. And if you notice, it's not symmetrical across this because of this jump. So it does hit, in fact, right over here at, well, if this is 1 second, then about a half would be here. So it's a real life problem, so we don't have that side, but it still follows the parabolic pattern. So true fun is being had here. All right, take care.